Today, I will be doing my official NFL quarterback tier list for the 2023 NFL season. About 2 months ago, I made an NFL team tier list where every team kind of stacks up with each other heading into the season. About a month ago, I also did an NFL divisions tier list. If you're interested in any of those, feel free to go check those out. But today, we're going to be ranking the most important position in all of sports, in my opinion, the quarterback position. I'm going to try to speed through this as fast as I can. I'm also going to try to pay more attention to what these quarterbacks did last year versus their entire career. The NFL is a very what did you do for me now versus what you have done for me in the past type of league. But with all that being said, the first quarterback on the board is Cooper Rush, the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And I do believe that he is in the below average tier. He stepped in for the Cowboys. He kept him afloat for majority of the season. If he was not able to step in and play pretty solid football, the Cowboys might not have been able to make the playoffs. Might have not have been able to be a high number 5 seed. So I do think Cooper Rush is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL, but I do not think he's going to be a top tier NFL starter or anything like that. Below average tier for Cooper Rush. Up next is Sam Darnold. I think he fits that same criteria. I think he has a higher ceiling than Cooper Rush. We've seen his tools on display multiple seasons now in the NFL. But as far as what he's been able to do as far as productivity, he's not really been that guy. He hasn't lived up to being a top overall pick. I still think he's one of the best backups in the league. Maybe he gets some playing time for the 49ers, turns his career around this year, but until then, below average. Justin Fields is really interesting to me. This may be a cold take, but I am going to have him in the average tier. What he was able to do last season with his legs was pretty tremendous. I think probably the best running quarterback type of season since Lamar Jackson, his MVP year. But personally, I do think Fields has still a long way to go as far as a passer. He's really got to develop that, especially this year. They got him a lot of weapons in the offseason. He has to take that next jump this year. We'll see if he can do that. But until then, I still think he's around the 17th, 16th, 15th best quarterback in the league. I do not see him in that top 10, top 12 range just yet. Jalen Hurts, who Bears fans hope that Justin Fields can develop into a similar type of player this year. I think for right now, you got to put Jalen Hurts in the elite tier. He brought his team to the Super Bowl, set a record in the Super Bowl for the most rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. He's very dynamic, really improved as a passer this year. He's been improving every single year of his career. I think Hurts is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. You got to put some respect on his name. He's in the elite category as we head into the season. Geno Smith, talk about a career resurgence. Geno Smith is in the good category. Over 30 touchdowns for Seattle last year. We'll see if he can do it again. But until then, he's in the good tier. Bailey Zappi is up next. I think he's unknown at this point. I don't really care to rank him that much. He's the backup quarterback for the Patriots. I don't think he's going to dethrone Mac Jones. He showed a couple flashes when Jones was hurt. He stole the starting job for him for a couple of snaps, a couple of quarters. But I think for right now, he's unknown. We do not know his ceiling, how good he can be, but I really do see him right now as a journeyman backup type of quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is up next. I think he is below average as I'm making this video. He had a good couple of years with the Titans and Derrick Henry kind of carrying that offense. He dealt with a lot of injuries last year. The Titans have now drafted 2 quarterbacks in the last 2 drafts, Malik Willis and now Will Levis. His time in Tennessee is coming to an end pretty shortly, and I do think it's because he is a below average quarterback. Hendon Hooker, he's up next. This one's pretty easy. I don't think he's going to take a snap next year or anytime soon. For right now, he's unknown. Josh Allen, the Madden 24 cover athlete. I think he's in the elite tier. I do think he's a little bit better than Jalen Hurts just because he's been that elite type of quarterback for a couple of seasons now. He really came onto the scene around the 2020 season. I think Allen is a top 3 quarterback. I think he's going to continue to put up really good numbers and be a very productive player for Buffalo. And that leads us to Jimmy G. I think he's the epitome of an average mid-tier quarterback. You know what you're getting with him. He's going to have some games where he's a very effective game manager and other games where he doesn't really show up. Jordan Love, I don't think we know anything about him either. I'm pretty optimistic about him this year. When he did get some snaps for the Packers, he was pretty effective. He's got a lot of tools. Can the Packers go back to back to back with having 3 amazing quarterbacks? We'll have to wait and see. This year will be really interesting for the Packers and Jordan Love. Up next is Jaren Hall. I'm not even going to lie. It took me around 5 minutes to even figure out who that was. I cannot tell based off of that picture. He's coming out of BYU. The Minnesota Vikings drafted him in the 5th round. He is 25 years old, which is a little bit crazy to me. But once again, he fits in the unknown range. We have not seen him play 1 snap in the NFL. Who knows what he can be? But for right now, he's unknown. Colt McCoy, I think, is the first quarterback I'm going to put into the trash category. He's on the borderline of being below average and potentially kind of being one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. But he routinely gets hurt a lot. He has a lot of up and down games. I think for right now, he's running mid-tier backup, which kind of puts him in the trash category. Andy Dalton, he was pretty good last year for the Saints. He's had some very good years with the Bengals. I think even for the Cowboys, he was a pretty effective backup. I think Andy Dalton's an average quarterback. I think he's around the Jimmy G type of player. You kind of know what you're getting. Some games he will be effective for you. He can run an offense effectively, but if you rely on him to win you multiple games, lead your team to the playoffs, win playoff games for you, he's not really going to be able to do that. Bryce Young, just like the other rookies, unknown. Jacoby Brissett, he was a pretty good backup for the Browns last year. Probably one of the better backups in the league. I do think he's a below average quarterback as well. Around Sam Darnold, around Cooper Rush, and that type of criteria. Daniel Jones is really, really interesting as well. I think based off of last year, you could have him sneak into that good tier, but I'm not going to be blinded solely because of that one season and kind of really that one half of season. Beginning of the year, he was still kind of getting his groove with Brian Daboll. So for right now, I'm going to have him in the average tier. I think he's around probably a little bit better than Jimmy G right now. I think he probably has a little bit more value if you were to trade him, or if there was a bidding war for each of those quarterbacks. I do think Daniel Jones is a little bit better than him currently. Tanner McKee, the Eagles drafted him in the 6th round. He's unknown as well, another rookie quarterback from this class. Lamar Jackson, the former NFL MVP, he is still in the elite tier in my opinion. I do think, however, if he has a down year this year, I do think that there is a real chance that you could slip him in to that good tier. I think Lamar has been a little bit up and down since his MVP season. He's dealt with some injuries. He hasn't really been the same type of dynamic player game in and game out since then. And he still has those times where you wish he was able to throw the ball a little bit more consistently. We will see this year, though. He's got a ton of weapons. The weapon excuse that a lot of people love to use for Lamar, it's gone now. They went out and got Zay Flowers. They got Odell Beckham Jr. They got a ton of talent now on the outside. We will see what Lamar can do this year. I have high expectations for him coming off of getting a huge contract and also missing his team's playoff game last year. Joe Burrow, he's another elite quarterback. I do have him ahead of Josh Allen on my NFL quarterback tier list ranking. He beat Josh Allen at Buffalo this year in the playoffs. I do think he's a more consistent player, less turnover prone. Joe Burrow, my number 2 quarterback. CJ Stroud, another rookie, unknown. Tua Tagovailoa, a very polarizing player. He's going to be in the good tier right ahead of Geno Smith. Tua had a very good 2022 season, over 20 touchdowns, over 3,000 yards. If he did stay healthy last year, which is a huge question mark for him and his future in the NFL, I think he would have had a great season, probably over 30 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards. I think he would be talked about as a top 10 quarterback. Brock Purdy, he didn't play a ton last year, but I do think we saw in the limited snaps that he can be an average quarterback. He stepped in, and the offense for the 49ers didn't really miss a beat. There's been a lot of rumors that he will start again for the 49ers if he's healthy week 1. So that'll be a really interesting storyline to watch next season. Taysom Hill as a quarterback is trash. He should stick to being a tight end. Drew Lock, we've seen enough of him. He is trash as well. I honestly thought he was going to start for the Seahawks, but Geno Smith beat him out, and that was definitely the right decision by the Seahawks coaching staff. Matthew Stafford is really interesting as well. Just 2 years ago, he brings the Rams to the Super Bowl. He wins it for him, has a career year. But then you go back to last year, dealt with injuries all season long, was not very good even when he was playing. I think for right now, he is in the good tier. I think if you go after his Super Bowl win, he was seen as around a top 5, probably top 7 quarterback in the league. But things change pretty quickly in the NFL. I think he's around the top 12, top 15 range as a quarterback. We'll see if he can kind of bounce back this year. Will be fun to watch. Mac Jones, I think based off of what I saw last year, he is a below average quarterback. We will see this year, though, he has a real offensive coordinator. He does not have a Matt Patricia, DC, calling the plays. Maybe the Patriots get DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe he takes another step in development. It'll be fun to watch him and the Patriots offense this year if they can kind of rebound. Kenny Pickett, I'm also going to put in the unknown. I think he's going to be pretty good, but I'm not entirely sure. He came on late in the season. He made a lot of clutch game-winning drives, but he was also pretty turnover prone before that. He definitely had some rookie moments. We'll see if he can kind of rebound from that this year. He's got a lot of weapons on the outside. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris in the backfield. Got the weaponry. Let's see if he can take a year 2 step. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's an elite quarterback. I think I would rank him currently ahead of Lamar Jackson just based off of winning a playoff game last year, competing against the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the divisional round, and also just having a great season. He finally has a real head coach, Doug Peterson. I think this is just the beginning for Trevor Lawrence. Mike White, I think he's in the below average tier as well. I think he's a solid backup quarterback. Nothing special though. Around a Jacoby Brissett type of player. Sam Howell, unknown. I'm also very intrigued to watch him this year. In his first start for the Commanders last year against the Cowboys, showed some flashes. I thought they got great value getting him in the 5th round. I kind of viewed him as a 2nd or 3rd round pick heading into that draft. So we'll see if he can kind of develop. Maybe be their long-term option at quarterback. If not, the Commanders will obviously be drafting a quarterback in next year's draft. But I'm going to be excited to watch Sam Howell this year. Teddy Bridgewater, same tier as Brissett and Mike White. Below average quarterback, can be a solid backup, but there are better options out there. Davis Mills at this point, I think you can label him trash. I was pretty intrigued to watch him last season. I thought he had a pretty underrated rookie season, but he did not develop at all. I think not really getting a lot of weaponry for him in year number 2, not really building a good coaching staff around him, hurt his development. But now they have CJ Stroud. He's not really going to be getting playing time. I think he's a career journeyman backup from this point on. Gardner Minshew, I think he's one of the best backups in the league. He's probably around a Mac Jones, Ryan Tannehill type of quarterback if he did get the same opportunities as them. Will he be starting for the Colts week 1 or will it be Anthony Richardson? That'll be an interesting storyline to watch as well. Matt Ryan, he's not in the league anymore, but based off of last season, he was trash, had a career horrible year for the Colts. Will Levis, he's unknown. We have not seen him take a snap yet. I do think, though, probably around midseason, he will be starting for the Titans once they have a slow start to the season. I do not think that team is ready to compete for the playoffs next season. Dak Prescott, he's in the good tier around the Tua range. I think Dak and Tua are honestly pretty comparable quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, this may also be another hot take, but I do think Russ is still around a good quarterback. He used to be an elite quarterback. Probably before he got traded to the Broncos, he was seen as an elite quarterback. Had a really down year last year. I think Nathaniel Hackett was a big reason for that. The Broncos also had a ton of injuries. I think this year with Sean Payton, he's going to return to form a little bit. I don't think he's going to reach the same heights that he reached in Seattle as far as being top 7, top 5 quarterback in the league. But can he still be a pretty effective guy that's around a top 12, top 10 quarterback? I think so, and that's where I'm going to have him ranked. Matt Corral, he's unknown. I don't think we're going to get to see him play in the NFL probably anytime soon because he is the backup quarterback now for Bryce Young. He's honestly the 3rd quarterback on that roster. Will they get rid of him? Will they try to trade him, give him an opportunity some other team? We'll see, but I did like Matt Corral coming out of Ole Miss. Thought he had some underrated talent, but we haven't really been able to see anything yet. Max Duggan, same thing. Interested to see, though, how his NFL career turns out. Kyler Murray, I think he's in the good tier. He has kind of fallen off a little bit from about 2 years ago when the Cardinals were one of the best teams in the league. I'm a little bit lower on Kyler Murray compared to a lot of different people. Now he has the ACL injury. He's really going to be able to play early on this year. A lot of questions regarding him. He's got some good talent, but there are a lot of questions surrounding him in his game. Malik Willis, I saw enough of him in his couple of starts last year to classify him as trash. He was terrible. Probably one of the worst quarterbacks, honestly, that I've seen play in the NFL. No disrespect to him. It is a very hard position, very hard thing to do, play at a high level. But I was just really not impressed. I think he is a very raw player, still has a lot of learning to do. Anthony Richardson, unknown as well, but I'm very, very interested to watch him play this year. I think the Colts should start in week 1. Up next is Stetson Bennett. I will be interested to see if he gets any playing time this year, if the Rams are really bad, or if Stafford gets hurt. They're apparently really high on him. Trey Lance, until further notice, he is in the trash category. I don't even know if he's going to start week 1 for the 49ers. He's back. He's healthy from his ankle injury. And now it seems like they want to start Brock Purdy over him, who was the last pick in the draft. Zach Wilson, trash. Jameis Winston, I still think he's below average. I think he's around a Teddy Bridgewater, Brissett. He's in that category. He's in that tier of a pretty good backup quarterback. Baker Mayfield, similar thing. High expectations for him as the number 1 overall pick back in 2018. Has just not really worked out. Saw a lot of videos of him practicing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was just getting trolled all across social media for missing pretty easy throws in practice. I've been waiting all video for this, but Patrick Mahomes, yes, he is the GOAT of the NFL right now. He is the best quarterback, undisputed in the league. He needed to have his own tier because I think that's how much better he is than the rest of the quarterbacks in the league. Justin Herbert, I do think he's elite as well. I'm not as high on Herbert as a lot of other people are in the social media world. Some people have Herbert as high as the 3rd best quarterback in the league. I don't see that. I don't think he's earned that right just yet. But I do see the talent. I do see what he's able to do on the field. And I do think he is an elite quarterback heading into his 4th season. Aaron Rodgers, he's another elite quarterback. He had a down year in 2022, but is that largely due to the weaponry that he had, the young wide receivers, the coaching staff, the turmoil with the Packers? Or was it because he's kind of fallen off a little bit? We'll have to see this year with the Jets. Really, really interested to see how all of that plays out. But until then, I need to see another year of Rodgers to call him, washed, or I need another season to kind of prove to everybody, hey, I'm still really, really good. For right now, he remains in the elite tier. Jared Goff, I think, is a good quarterback. if you asked me around last season, before the year started, Jared Goff was probably around an average quarterback, maybe below average, but he had a really good season for the Lions last year, almost brought him to the playoffs after a very slow start to the season. I think the Lions are going to make the playoffs this year. Their defense should be a lot better, which was really what was holding them down. They had one of the best offenses in the league. Jared Goff, pretty good quarterback. Clayton Tune, another rookie, unknown, no clue what to expect from him in the NFL. Kirk Cousins, I think, is a good quarterback. You know what to expect with him. He's going to put up pretty good numbers. He's going to show up, be relatively healthy every season. But if you need him to win you a big game, he's not really going to be able to do that. Terrible on prime time, terrible in big games. So I think Kirk Cousins, he's a good quarterback. And that tier is a guy that can be a pretty good option for your team, be an upper echelon game manager. But if you really want him to win you games, he's probably not the guy to do so. Marcus Mariota, he had a good couple years with the Titans, but he's trash now. The athleticism is a little bit less since he entered the league. He hasn't really been able to develop as a passer since he's entered the league, and now that he's off the Falcons, they got rid of him. I don't know if he's going to get a starting job or be in contention for one anytime soon. Desmond Ridder, he's in the unknown tier as well. He played in a few games for the Falcons last year, showed some flashes, also showed some things that, it's a little concerning, but he gets a clean slate this year with the Falcons. They have a ton of weapons on the outside. Bijan Robinson now in the backfield to help him out. Really going to be interested to see if he's their quarterback of the future or if he's the reason that they're not really too good next year and they draft a new quarterback. And last but certainly not least, Derek Carr. I think he is a good quarterback as well. The Raiders got rid of him, brought in Jimmy G. I don't necessarily agree with that. Now he's with the Saints. Can he put together another good season, bring them to the playoffs? I think the Saints should be the favorite in the NFC South. But yeah, guys, this is my NFL quarterback tier list heading into the 2023 NFL season. And I also like to preface before somebody gets really angry with me in the comment section, I did not rank the quarterbacks in the tier in order. It's just kind of a rough draft on where I see these quarterbacks stacking up, who's around them, what type of tier I think they're in. And that's that. But let me know what you think about my tier list, if it's solid, what you would change, what you like about it. And also let me know your top 5 quarterbacks in the league. I am curious to know everybody's top 5 quarterbacks heading into the season. But subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for watching the video. And I will catch you guys in my next one.